And how's it going?
Everything's going good. So I just want to bring school owners up tonight. Share anything that you want to share, anything that's on your heart, or anything dealing with the school, because we got future school owners on here and current.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, man, being in education right now is the best thing to be in because knowledge destroys fear, and there's a lot of people going through a lot of fear um, with whatever's going on in this world, right? And so, if you are a stylist, a barber, a beauty professional already, um, it's time to level up, right? And so, for me, um, that happened when we were all scared. I opened my school right after the pandemic, right? So right now people are tripping on whatever's going down with the economy. But I think it's the time now to press forward and level up and become a school owner if that's what your heart desires. And um, so the knowledge destroys fear. That's why this blueprint is so important. That's why this community is so important. And so I'm just here because I prayed to God and he answered me instantly. And I literally was praying on the phone saying, Lord, I need somebody to help me open the school. And then I saw Chin's ad. And I don't think there's um, a coincidence that God placed Chin's ad right in front of me. And I don't think it's a coincidence that tonight I logged on. It's been a long time since I've been on a Wednesday. Usually I sing at church on Wednesdays. So I'm usually serving. And this is the first Wednesday in a long time that I haven't been singing. And so I reached out to my community and here we are. Um, and then just hearing you ministering to people and communicating a message of faith and what community looks like with prayer. It just felt like there's no coincidences. So I don't believe that if somebody's on here now and you are a beauty professional and you're thinking about getting in the blueprint, or if you're already in the blueprint, still thinking about opening your school, I think the time is now. This industry needs believers. It needs people who love Jesus. It needs people who are passionate about other people, who see no color, who see no creed, who just want to love and encourage the community. And I think that what a better leader than Chin to literally walk the walk, talk the talk. He's raising up leaders, and man, I'm just honored to be able to call you a friend, but a coach and a mentor. And so thank you for choosing me to come on, man.
Well, I'm glad you came on, Tyler, and shared, because you've been a stylist for a long time.
Yeah, man. Long time, man. I mean, I was a kid, couldn't read, couldn't write, struggled with math, told I was never going to amount to anything. And which is crazy to tell, a 6-7 year old that. That happened to me twice, actually. Two teachers told me that. One was right, one was wrong. The one that was wrong, she's wrong, but the other one that was right was the one that I was singing, and I was singing at a higher register than most guys would sing, and he said, and I got made fun of. So I basically heard he said, "Hey, I quit," and he said, "I promise I'll get to the story. I'll get to the finish line on this," but he literally he said, he said to me, he says, if you keep quitting the things that you're really good at, you're going to amount to nothing. Even though the other teacher told me I was going to amount to nothing, I didn't quite hear what he fully said. And the Lord revealed to me, if you keep quitting on the things that you're good at, you are going to, you're going to be amount to nothing. And the crazy thing is when I became a hairstylist, everything became so simple. And that's how I knew that I was operating in God's gift for me, is I could instantly watch a haircut, and I could instantly download it into my mind, and I knew how to do it. And connecting with people, and I didn't know it was ministry at the time, but just really wanting to can just connect with people. Like everybody's like, how'd you build your clientele? I'm like, I connected with people. And so I've been doing hair now for 18 years. And my first 300 hours in school, I got in trouble and they sent me to the principal's office. I was frustrated. I threw my comb, it bounced off the mirror, hit my instructor, and she was not having my attitude or my ego. And so she sent me up to Bob's office, God rest his soul. And I sat there for an hour listening to the importance of being a school owner and how it has the most impact on people. And so, my first 300 hours in school, I literally had this transplant in my heart that I wanted to be a school owner. I didn't ever think it was really ever going to happen. But in 2020, 2021, I opened up my school. And so I've been a stylist for a long time, cutting, coloring behind the chair. My wife's a stylist. My little 6-year-old daughter, she says she's not going to be a stylist. And you know what? I kind of believe her, because she's not going to be a stylist because she's not going to have to, because our school is going to create so much generational wealth that she ain't going to have to do it. But she's probably going to just do it because she's going to do it for fun. But anyway, been a stylist for a grip.
Now, what's the difference in being a school owner versus working in the shop? How does it feel? The transition improving?
Yeah, I mean, not to make this like a Bible story, but for a little while, it was in the so we're what, 18 months in, so we're like just about to go to my first meeting with NACIS. So it's kind of like, I would recommend listening to Chin. Start off small, get your license first, do all the things that I didn't do. But it's amazing. I mean, I was chained to the chair. I was chained to the chair. Sorry, it's shaky. My phone is shaking, but I was chained to the chair. You see that little funny video that Chin has. I was chained to the chair, and I get to do so many other things. I get to cut. I get to color. I get to groom. I get to motivate and encourage. I get to sell. I get to email. I get to do social media. I get to do so many different things. Other than just the grind of just, next, every 15, every 30 minutes, partial highlight, haircut, whatever. And the people and the stories and you see how it's transforming people's lives. Like I was gonna, like, all those tests I took when I was a kid, they said I was gonna be a burger flipper, or I'm gonna be a construction worker. And the fact of the matter is I got people with PhDs that ain't making the money that I'm making. You know what I'm saying? So not that it's all about money, but it's important, man. I'm called to be able to give. And if I don't make money, how can I possibly give and help? So this being a school owner is hard, but nothing that I have not been able to surrender to God and be able to get through, and just show up the next day and the next day and the next day, just show up. And I have a coach who answers the phone every time I need him. And so that always helps too.
Okay. Now, how does they treat you in Arizona since you've transitioned to be a school owner? Any different, or tell us about that?
I mean, I think there's a class level shift, right? It's called, like, you could be an eagle or you could be a pigeon. And I'm not trying to say like that being a hairstylist is a pigeon, but in the community, sometimes people think being a hairstylist is a last resort. Especially as a school owner, you get to hear so many testimonies about how mom and dad, uncle, girlfriend, mother-in-laws, father-in-laws don't think that being a hairstylist is a real, or a barber, or anything in the beauty industry is like a real job, a real career. And it's just not true. So I hear all these things. And for me, yes, I was told that too. Yeah, so I was told that too. I'm sorry, I got distracted by the comment. Yeah, for me, it's just like, what was the question again, man? Sorry, I got distracted from that comment.
How's the society treating you or been looking at you since
Oh,
you transitioned?
yeah, I mean, we're doing, so they used to, so I was talking about altitude, like sometimes they talk, like, not that we're pigeons, but some people will think that that, if you're a barber or a hairstylist, that it was a last resort. And at the end of the day, that's just not true. And so I'll tell you, going to holiday parties, everybody wants to talk to me, or Jessica, because we have the most interesting, we know everybody in the community, we have the most interesting job, like, or career. Everybody's excited about it. Everybody's like, that none of those doctors or lawyers that I'm sitting there pay me, or I don't pay them. They pay me. Their wives pay me. They're, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're like, so they get a kick out of that, but the altitude level has changed. And so I said, like, I'm like soaring with eagles. Like, we just did Phoenix Fashion Week, and Phoenix Fashion Week was like, is the biggest fashion runway show in the Northwest, or not Northwest, Southwest. And we're talking like bigger than Vegas. Like, this was a big deal. And so you just start, being a school owner just allows you to put a certain, like, swag to your name. Like, yeah, I'm a hairstylist, but I own a school. And so it's helped me behind the chair. It's helped me in community meetings. It's helped me in all kinds of ways. It just levels you up, period.
Okay. Anything else you want to share?
I would like to say this. If you have not opened your school yet, and you're passionate about opening your school, I would make sure that you get your license. I would make sure that you don't go too big. I would make sure that you follow Chin's advice to the T. Don't spend $10,000 on a website like I did, like a dummy, even though I had all the click funnels that he made me, because that was the part of the program that I chose. This program, a lot of you already know this, is set up for a reason. And God has given him the vision through, what's her name? What was her name? Miss Martha?
Miss Velma?
Velma. So clearly, man, I mean, it's just, you never want to say shoulda, woulda, but I would have listened a little clearer to Tim, or to Chin. I want to say something actually too, just like, Chin, you've heard in his video, his like marketing and things like that online, that he always answers the phone. And it's just really true. He always answers the phone for me. So, and I'm grateful for you. So, thanks for answering this call too.
Well, I'm proud of you. That 18 months went by real fast. So now
it was like this. I'm excited, man. We graduated. I've already graduated. So my school, to break even, I needed to graduate 15 students. I needed to get 15 students in my first year. So it's been 18 months, and we've graduated 12, and I got 8 now, and I got 3 more coming in January. So, we're breaking even, which is crazy. I'm not saying that it ain't hard, but we're breaking even, which is crazy to do in your first year in business, first 18 months in business. It ain't easy, but it's easy. I don't know how you say that, but like, it's just I'll tell you right now, as soon as we get government funding, like, this is about to go down, because, like, if I get government funding, like 25 to 40% of my leads, because I'm a good salesman, I can talk, whatever, I can transition some people into payment plans and things like that. But I won't have to sell like that if I get government funding. This thing, my school only needs 40 people at all times for me to be making multi-millions of dollars. Like, that's how we set it up. Like, That's generational wealth right there. Multi-millions of dollars. I need 40 students at all times forever for the history of the school. 40 students. I don't need 200 like the rest of them. I'm talking like not just a 1 with 2 commas. I'm talking about maybe a 2 with almost, like maybe almost a 3 in front of it, like with 2 commas. Like the money, if you keep the cost down, you keep the building tight, you keep it right, you listen to Chin, that 18 months goes quick. It's hard, but it's quick, and you're rising. And it's been so rewarding to put in that time. And it really, at the end of the day, the students are what make it. I know that sounds cliche, but like the students really make it hard, and they make it like the most satisfying as well.
Now, what if you hadn't opened the school?
Say what?
What if you hadn't opened the school?
Man, I was ready to be done, man. I was behind the chair working, 5 days a week. I was making that. I had money. I kept telling my dad, who was in sales, I'm like, man, he was making bank. I was like, I can talk and I can sell and I can, I'm like, I need something new, like I've done the runway shows. I've done the platform artist thing. So to be honest with you, Chin, I think I would be so jaded behind the chair that I would be turning people off, because I'd be like, my heart and passion wouldn't be in it. I wouldn't be working with precision and purpose like I do now, because I know that I have a higher standard to hold myself to where I'm in front of my students, that I got to cut and color and barber and all the things that I do. I have to do it on point. But even behind the chair, I still hold myself. But I was getting to that point where I thought I knew everything. I wasn't getting education. So to answer your question, I don't know. I'd be a washed up hairdresser, probably working in it, where I think hairdressers go to die off. And I was passionate, man. I mean, dude, I was like, there was nobody more passionate than being a hairstylist. So for me, opening a school is like, it was like, if you do something that God's not calling you to do long enough, you're just not going to do it. You don't care how much money you make. Like God was calling me to be an influencer, not like we think influencer, to be able to impact people's lives, to be able to be a fisherman of men and women, and women. But like I said, I didn't want to make it a Bible story, but there came a point where I had to, and the enemy creeps in all the time, where there came a point where I had to burn my plow, where I couldn't have one hand on the plow and then looking back, plowing for my school, and then looking back going, man, things are, aren't as easy. It was so much easier for me to just be a hairstylist. Yeah, but easy, that's not what champions are made of. They're made of grit and pressure, and so there came a place where I knew I wanted to keep my pulse on the industry. So I still do hair 1 day a week, but that's just because I want to keep a pulse. It's not because it's not because of the money. It's just because I want to keep my hands. I want to keep my eyes and my ears. But there comes a point where you have to become a school owner. I had a mentor of mine trying to help me with sales. He said, Tyler, you're no longer a master hairstylist anymore. And I was like, what's this guy talking about? He's like, you're in sales. You're selling the dream of what you've already accomplished. You have to sell this dream of what you already accomplished, which was, I was a kid that couldn't read, couldn't write, struggled with math. I went into cosmetology school. It was the best decision of my life outside of salvation and my wife. And now I'm a school owner. And so now I get to tell that story over and over and over again, because it's authentic, it's real, and it's not sales. I'm testifying, and people change by the blood of the Lamb and the power of the testimony. So here we are, and so this thing is a ministry. It's not just about teaching people how to cut and color hair and fade and do eyebrows and nails. And it's literally about the soul, the impact of the mind, body, and soul. Like, it's important that if we are going to have people in the beauty industry leave our school, that they are better when they leave than they are when they come, right? And so if hurt people, if people who deal with gratitude every day, and people who identify the pain and pleasure and create balance and get in alignment with and take action with what their purpose in life is, that's how we create what my mission statement personally is, which is changing the mentality of hairdressing. That's how we do that. Like, you take my reading and writing and math, that's a pain. I wanted to show everybody that told me I was going to amount to nothing, that I was going to be a success. And so I took that pain also with the pleasure of becoming great at being a hairstylist. I balanced it. I was in alignment with my purpose. I took action. And the next thing you know, the desires of my heart, the calling on my life, all these things have not been manifested, but have been prophesied into my life. And it's unbelievable. So I don't know. There you go.
When people prophesied that in your life, told you things, what did you think in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I believed them when these people. So people can, false prophesy, right? We know there's going to be a whole bunch of people testifying that's things that are false. We see it now, and all these people were saying these things to me. But I had mom and dad, right? I had mom and dad telling me you can be anything you want to be. I had mom and dad saying, don't listen to that lie. I had mom and dad. I had my godfather. He taught me how to see and take care of my body. He taught me how to eat right. He taught me how to take care of my skin. He taught me how to work out. He taught me how to push through pain, physical pain, if it had to do with working out or even something you didn't like. I didn't get the new iPhone this year, so I'm feeling pain from my friends at school, which there were no such thing as iPhones or cell phones when I was in high school, but I'm using that as an example. He taught me how to push through, how to work for $1, how to not. This is the one thing that my godfather taught me. He started reverse prophesying all these negative things, like my mom and dad. So these things started stacking. These positive things started stacking, where the negative thing still became a driver for me, but the positive gratitude things that I started believing about me and the promises that God was saying about me through my mom, through my dad, through the people in my life. Could have been a coach, could have been a godparent. I started stacking these things up and picking up the clues that are left behind. How many times we've heard this in motivational talks, picking up the clues that are left behind, and just started stacking those. And I started believing that I was great. I started believing that that if I believed it, and that if I spoke it, and if I took action, that these things would happen. And that's not the secret. It's no secret. It's the truth. This is God's word. And so I literally, hands down, started listening to the things that people were saying over me. And then I started speaking them out. And then those things started happening, and all those little wins, little wins. At first they were just words. First they were just things people were saying about me. Then they became actions, like winning the state championship. Then I found my wife in high school. We got married at 21. Then I opened a salon. Then, all these wins start stacking up. And even if you get an L, you get a loss. I have so many wins stacked up that I just was like, whatever, let's go. Like, let's get to the next win. And so being able to prophesy since my first 300 hours in 2005 that I was going to be a school owner. The reason why I'm a school owner now is because you could ask my grandfather. He just was here for Thanksgiving. He was like, man, you've been talking about this a long time. And I've been talking about it a long time, and it's a reality. And And when you have the opportunity to soar at a different altitude, and you had the opportunity to hear, and it doesn't have to be from your mom, and it doesn't have to be from your dad. It was a godfather. It was a coach that you are great. And you actually take action and you do it. Like, you can't stack that. Like, people can't take that down. The foundation is too big. So I don't know.
Okay. Now, you were a state track champion.
Yeah, I was, yes, I was.
Well, somebody else had told me that. You remember I told you? It was
you were in talks with somebody that saw the same, basically just like me, what was that dude's name? I forget.
I can't
But
remember. He knew you in high school, and he told me you was a state champion.
Yeah. So the funny thing about that, man, is I walked in. This is about prophesying again. I mean, I walked into a brand new high school. And when you go to a high school that's been around for a while, hopefully they got like some banners in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got some, like, this person won state, football team, the basketball team, badminton team, track team. There's some like banners around. But when it's a brand new school, you walk in and there's nothing on the walls. And so when I walked in, I was tired. I was kind of tired of being, I just started going to church. I just started understanding what the Holy Spirit was. So I was kind of tired of this, like, poor man's mentality. I was tired of putting $1 or trying to save 10 cents, but I would spend $1, like, that's something my godfather taught me. And I was living with him at the time. Like, I would spend $1 so quick, but then I would try to drive around to save 10 cents on gas. You know what I mean? Like, I would put it in a Coke machine. But I know that we've heard that in motivational stuff too. But my godfather was really teaching me this stuff. So I walked into the gym and I was kind of already, like, my spirit was stirred, and I was like, I'm going to be a champion. I spoke it in the gym. I said, I'm going to be a champion. I thought I was going to be in football, but if you've ever seen me in real life, I'm kind of small. So it didn't happen in football, but I became a 2-time state champion, and I went to state 3 times. My sophomore year, I actually was ranked number 2, and I hit the 4th hurdle and didn't get to make it to the big show. But that loss was the best thing that ever happened, because the next year I went undefeated, and almost broke this. No, I went undefeated. So never lost my junior year, and then my senior year, I almost broke the state record, which is crazy. And if you see a picture of me standing on the podium, it's funny. I was just sharing this with one of my students today. All the dudes are taller, almost as tall as me, while I'm standing on the number 1 podium, and they're on 2 and 3. They're almost as tall as me. It's crazy. And I was in the 110 hurdles, which is like, I hope nobody gets offended, but like, for a short white dude, like, the 110 hurdles is not supposed to be the race that you win. But it's funny, when God says you win, you win. You know what I mean? So I worked really hard, and I was just unbeatable, which is crazy. So I was 100 in the country. I'm about to be the 100. I'm about to be up there too, in best most profiting hair schools too. I can promise you that.
Yes, that can be done.
It can, man. It can.
It will be done. Y'all have to speak that thing. And a lot of people are not speaking it. I mean, I started with 0 students.
Yes.
And
0. Me too. I mean, I started with 0. Yeah. Chin, I had my dad. Remember, I had my dad. I was spending like money. I had money. I was spending it like it was like, I was being wise. We were building a lot of things. Chin hooked me up with some people, with his Rolodex is like unlimited. I still use a lot of the people that are in the Rolodex. I just got off the phone with my tax lady. She's amazing. she prayed. How many of y'all have a tax person that at the end of it prays with you? I'll tell you right now, like, you probably don't. And so this lady is amazing, man. We can do a shout out to her, man. 5-star tax, man.
Marquita,
man. The whole crew is amazing, but yeah, exactly. Prayer hands, man. So the Rolodex the Rolodex is worth its weight in gold, even if he didn't give you anything other than the Rolodex. I don't know if there's probably people not on here that are not sold yet. Are there?
Yeah, you always got people, but it's not us, it's them.
Yeah.
Believe in themselves. A lot of people don't believe in themselves.
Yeah. Well, I could say this, that you may not believe in yourself, but God believes in you, and he's called you, he's given you a purpose. And if you are already in the beauty industry and you are even thinking about this, there's a reason that you're thinking about it. And that reason is because it's called the unction. He's given you an unction. He's hurt you. There's no other reason why you would randomly want to be a school owner, other than God putting this in front of you. It's not a coincidence, because there's no such thing. So you got to believe in yourself. I'll tell you this, like, if I didn't have the support system, I receive it. Amen. If I didn't have the support system of Chin, my friend Tim, if I didn't have my mom, my dad, my wife, there's been times, when things get tough and she's like, I don't even know who you are. Like, what are you saying? Like, get behind me, Satan. Like, no, like, this isn't the guy that wins state championships. This is the guy that loses. Mm-hmm. Right. And so, like, you have to have a support system. And if they're like, you've heard this in all the other motivational things too. Like, first of all, before I found Jesus, I searched under every stone. So every guru, every guru out there. So I know all these kind of guru-y things to say, because I was trying to find what was missing in my heart, but nothing can fulfill it except for Christ. But anyway, at the end of the day, you have to have a great support system. And if somebody doesn't believe in you, if they don't think that you can do it, then they got to go. I know that sounds hard, but they got to go. And I spent more time on the phone with Chin, and that, 9 months of me, it was like giving birth. It was like that 9 months. And Chin was like my Lamaze coach. You know what I mean? Like, he was telling me to breathe. He's telling me to do this, to help me to do that, comforting me through the process. Remember, we already talked about this, and it's a 9-month birthing process. So don't think that you're going to go through it. I'm not trying to don't think that you're going to go through it without some contractions. Don't think you're going to go through it without needing some rest. Don't think you're going to go through it without needing some support. Don't think you're going to go through it without needing some milk before you get the steak. Don't think it's funny. But you got to believe in yourself. You got to just believe that you have the right people around you to help you get to the finish line. I didn't cross that finish line. I didn't cross that finish line with track without my support system. Nobody wants to wake up and go run in the morning when it's cold. No one. It's cold. No one's getting out of bed. I didn't want to do it. I wouldn't have. I also didn't even want to go to hair school. I had a guy, God rest his soul, man of God, got me my first Bible. I still read it not my first Bible, but my real Bible. It's my sword, iron sharpens iron. He wrote that in there. That was what he wrote in there. And he called me every single morning before his hair school, because I was not going to go. So you need somebody in your life that's like that. And I think that your support system is very, 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 very important. Because there's going to be times where you don't believe in yourself. This is good. Thank you. That blesses me. Thank you so much. There's going to be times where you don't believe in yourself, but you got to have other people who believe in you. They've heard your dream when you were all hot and excited, when the Holy Ghost was flowing through you, and you this and that, and I can do this. So all things in Christ who strengthens me. But sometimes you get down where you're like Paul and you're saying, look, Lord, remove this thorn from me. But at the end of the day, it's about the people that you surround yourself with. We've heard that from every guru as well, right? So yes, sir.
Well, you shared a lot with us tonight. And I thank you for even coming up here.
Man, I thank you, man. I couldn't have done it without you. And I believe it's a divine appointment, man. I think there's people on here that needed to hear some gospel, and some people that needed to hear a success story. But at the end of the day, this is I say this all the time at the school. I say this is not about you starting something. This is about you committing to something. You're committing to yourself, and that commitment is that I'm not going to quit and I'm not going to stop. And I'm committing to Chin. I've committed to my peers. I've committed to God. I've committed to my wife that I'm going to do my best unto the Lord. And if that is in hairdressing, or if it's preaching, or if it's singing in worship, or even if it's sweeping my garage, whatever it looks like, I need to do my best unto the Lord. And your ego is a heck of a thing to fight. And my ego got in the way of listening to Chin fully. And so that is going to be my message always when it talks about the blueprint or starting the school or anything. Listen to Chin.
Okay. Well, maybe they will. I know they got something from this, from listening to you, but I'm so glad that you talk about God. And that school is a ministry.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, if they just look at my Instagram, if they even like, all right, who's Tyler James? Oh, salon, school, and they go to my Instagram, you can see like what I'm about, what I'm doing in my lifestyle, So I don't think it's like, I don't preach the gospel from the pulpit of my school, but sometimes you could preach the gospel and sometimes use words. And I use a lot of, I do what the world, sometimes I do what the world does. I preach the gospel to them, and they don't even know that I'm preaching the gospel to them. They just know that I know that if it's truth, and it's going to impact people's hearts. I do talk about my faith at school. But I just want to be clear that I'm not necessarily like proclaiming that my school is a Christian school or anything like that. But I definitely, God is everything. Even today, one of my students was like, I've never seen you mad. And I'm thinking to myself, what? Like, what do you mean you never seen me? They're like, we've seen you like frustrated. We've seen you, this or that. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. Because like, they've not seen anger out of me, because he's when I'm there, like I have not blown my witness. You know what I mean? They see somebody singing on a stage in front of thousands of people every weekend. But yet they see the same, hopefully they see the same guy that's on that stage that is that's their school owner as well. And because and that's how me and you, Chin, got together. It's like I was blown away. I like God, God, I believe called us. Like, we have so many correlations, but that's what's happening with my students. I hit a rough. Since you asked me, I hit a rough spot in the school, and it's right about now. It's like last year, but it was right about now, and January is pretty tough. You really want to hammer it before. When you think everything's good, you want to double down, because in this season of Christmas and the holidays, it gets a little tough. It's not too tough, but it's tough. And so I went to the prayer pavilion and I started praying for every single one of my students, everyone that I graduated, everyone that was on my that was in the school, everybody that was on my call list, all the leads that I was dealing with. I just prayed for them. And I prayed that God would bring more equally yoked people. I prayed that he would bring me equally yoked family, moms and dads and decision makers, even if the students don't believe. Just bring me Christian parents, like whatever we got to do, God. And I had a massive increase that doubled my school size in it was amazing. And it's just all about humbling myself and getting in front of God and being grateful that he's even given me the opportunity to have these gifts, meet the people, have the network, have the ability to even live in a country where I could go to a prayer pavilion and pray out loud and be free and be on a platform. And so, you know, when you said it's a ministry, man, it's crazy because the electrician I led to Christ, you know, like the guy that like was like, dude, there's something different about you. Like my school was literally like a construction zone, and I just shared my testimony with him, and he said, I want that. And I, you know, so yes, that school's already a church. That school's already a ministry. That school's already impacting people. People walk in and they go, what's this I feel? And I go, I know what it is. And you know, it's a spirit, man. You can't get away from it. It's intoxicating. Ask anybody that walked. You can see it with your eyes. Then the people that are wicked, when they walk in, if they are not meant to be there, if their heart's so hardened that they are out, they bounce. I've had people with Louis bag fulls of money, and they couldn't stand being in there. Bags sitting on my desk, and they couldn't stand being in the building because the spirit drove them out. I had an employee one that eventually couldn't handle the spirit of God, what I believed, what my values were, couldn't handle it anymore, and just drove itself right out. So being protected, even in the midst of when things may be down, knowing that if I just do today, I stack this gratitude and I stack my people that I'm with, the atmosphere of the Lord. Yeah, I love these. We should maybe get some questions too. I'm sure our people have some questions. But yes, it's a ministry. It's a ministry. Period. That's at the end of the day. God has called us to be fishermen of men. That's our purpose in life, in women. So I don't care if you do it with a hook and a worm, or if you do it with radar and nets. We're called to catch. We're called to catch. And how do we do that? By the blood of the Lamb and the power of the testimony. And you know, this story that you've heard you could use to and just go, yo, well, how do I take his blank out and insert my blank? Because it's just the truth, man. And your truth is important. What does this say? What does this say? Talk that talk now. Come on. Do we have any questions, Chin? Do you want to keep rolling or time up?
I'm sure they got some questions for you.